Shalom, shalom. Welcome to you all. Good morning. This is the Bill Bullock, and welcome to some quality time around the Rabbi's son's Shabbat table. We try to spend a little time with all who wish to come every Shabbat morning, every Sabbath morning, every Saturday morning, for those of you who may not be totally aware of what we're talking about. Every Saturday morning, we try to spend a little bit of time together exploring the beauty, the majesty of the Creator of the universe and His grand plan, particularly as it is revealed in this marvelous book, this Revelation series called Torah. Genesis 1:1 through the end of the book of Deuteronomy. And we are in a 52-week course. Every year we go through this course. It is a scheduled, programmed way of maturing and developing ourselves and surrendering ourselves bit by bit into the greater plan of the Creator of the universe. And so we do this every week. We study the Torah. And this week we have a particular section. Every week we have a particular section. But this week we have the section that is called Tetzaveh. It is in the middle of the book of Exodus, or actually kind of toward the end, I guess, the beginning of the end of the book of Exodus. Shemot, as it's called in Hebrew. And this portion begins with what you would think of as Exodus 37:20 through Exodus 30, verse 10. Tetzaveh. And so we'll talk about that. I just want to welcome you to the Shabbat table. I want to welcome you to our time together. And I want to encourage you to just drop me a line, let me know where you are. And where you are as you're listening, not just physically in the state or the location or the country you're in, but where you are and what you'd like to talk about and what you are concerned about in the world. Let's not be too pessimistic and down today, but let's think about what the possibilities are and how we can contribute to those possibilities coming into some level of reality in our lives. Okay, well, it's about time for us to launch off into Parshat Tetzaveh. This is the 20th of the 54 different subsections called Parshot of the Torah. As I said, it begins with Exodus 27, verse 20, and continues for about almost 3 chapters to 30, verse 10. I call it, I always have a subtitle, so that's what I'm going to introduce you to, a little subtitle to our discussions. I call it Adventures in the Beauty Realm Continued, and then the subheading is Spiritual Science, Course Level 3. When you understand that Torah is a sequential, step-by-step playbook, an unveiling, one thing at a time, one truth at a time, one eternal reality at a time, one calling upward at a time, then you don't try to take it out of context. You keep it in its context. Well, we're in the middle of something as we began with Parshat Tetzaveh. We're in the middle of something that I call the adventures in the beauty realm. We know a lot about what happens on this earth. We know a lot about what happens, unfortunately, too much about what happens in the halls of government, in the halls of business, in the marketplace, and things along those lines. We know what happens when people are angry and upset in the world, and what their flesh does, and what their pseudo-intellect does, and how it poisons and toxifies the world around us. We know the world. We know enough about it to where it kind of we love it in one sense because it's our home, but we also fear it. We also have we're also suspicious of the people and the things in it, and so we are very defensive with regard to it. This is what we know of the world. But there's another realm beyond the physical, beyond the temporal. There is an unseen realm to most of us, but the unseen realm becomes seen through the Torah. The Torah is our medium through which the Creator of the universe shows us His beauty realm, that there is something higher and better than what this world as we know it, that we're a little bit afraid of, has to offer. And this, He invites us every year, this time of the year, for His adventures in the beauty realm. We read about it. It's the medium of Moshe being on the mountain of Sinai. And on Mount Sinai, he is shown things, and he's told to tell Bnei Israel, which is this combination of the seed of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the mixed multitude, which has joined us as a harvest as we've come out of Egypt, out of bondage. We're all together at Mount Sinai, at the foot of Mount Sinai, and with Moshe has been taken up into the higher realms, into the great cloud atop the mountain, and he is being shown things to reveal to us. And through this literary medium of the Holy One speaking, what I call creator speak, downloads of wisdom directly from his heart into Moshe, that Moshe is to write down and we are to read every year. He takes us on these grand adventures in his beauty realm, lest we think that all that our life has to offer or all that our life consists of is in this world. He introduces us to his beauty realm. Well, welcome to this beauty realm. Welcome to the place where cherubim and seraphim fly around the throne room, where there are courts and chambers of intense beauty and holiness and majesty, where the one who sits at the center of it all is beautiful in his glory, in his goodness. And we sense this welcoming presence and yet this intense holiness that causes us to shrink back, drawn to him, but drawn to shrink back. And we have to realize there's this barrier between us, but he is calling us to come through the veil, come through this barrier and be with him, spend quality time with him, even to some degree, like in a small picture of what I'm showing you by spending some time every Sabbath morning, some quality time around the Shabbat table with the rabbi's son. So much more than that is what he's doing with Moshe. And through Moshe's writing of the Torah, of his scribing down what he was told, so he's doing so with us. He's inviting us on these adventures in the beauty realm. And there are 4 living creatures, and they have their songs, and they have their energy. And then we have these 24 elders that are driven, impetus by the majesty and the wonder and the goodness of the Holy One, and their love for him, to cast down their crowns every moment and cry out, holy, holy, holy is the Holy One, our God Almighty. The whole earth, may the whole earth be filled with his glory. That's the thing. The adventures in the beauty realm are not just so we can have some ecstatic experiences. They're so that we can know what we're supposed to bring back to earth, how we can be carriers of this beauty back into the earth. So that's why I'm phrasing the lessons we're learning as spiritual science courses. We talked about lessons of spiritual science corresponding to the lessons of physical science that most people relate to Isaac Newton. And I'm not necessarily trying to get you convinced or to understand Isaac Newton. I understand those are the example that we're trying to use out of the natural world to explain what the Holy One's doing in the spiritual realm. He's trying to teach us not physical science, not about force and motion and its momentum and the difference in the volume and all that. Not about the issue of for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Not the things of the Newton's laws, but the very corresponding things that are in the spiritual realm. Spiritual Science, Course 3. This is a dramatic call. It goes beyond scenery. We have been introduced to scenery in our first set of courses in spiritual science. We've been introduced to sights and sounds and smells and scents and colors and frequencies, and it's been amazing. This other world, this world of the unseen, is indeed beautiful, and it is indeed stunning, and it is inspiring to us. But what about do people, the human beings, do you and I, do ordinary human, can not just 4 living creatures and angels and cherubim and seraphim, can real human beings enter into that realm and function in that realm and serve in an appropriate manner? Can we reflect the majesty and absorb the majesty and the glory and the beauty of that realm and begin to act accordingly, fittingly for that environment? Well, that's what we're going to find this week in Parsha Tetzaveh. We're going to learn about what the English Bibles call the priesthood. I don't want you to get into theological discussions. This is not I'm not here to argue theology with you or to teach theology to you. There are many people, many places you can find those sorts of things. I'm calling you to walk with me through this veil that the literary device of the Torah gives us to say, can I have a place? Can I have a function? Can I play a role in that holy, beautiful, unseen realm of the Creator of the universe? Am I welcome there around his courts and his chambers? And what would I do? How would I behave? What would I speak? What would I think? What would I feel? What would I give if I could go there? So here we are at our calling to and our models for avodah. We're going to be introduced to this term, avodah. It's a Hebrew phrase, of course. The Torah is written in Hebrew. The Holy One chose the Hebrew language as the most effective means of communicating this spiritual reality and drawing us into the spiritual reality. We have to know things in English or French or Afrikaans or other languages that are our natural birth language or verse languages, because it has to enter our mind as well. But ultimately, it comes right back to the Hebrew. The Hebrew is how he's drawing us in. So this word avodah is going to be very important to us. We'll talk more about it. But mostly it's translated as service or ministry. What is our reasonable service? What would be your way to serve the Holy One if you were invited into his holy place? You don't run the world. You don't run that world. He does. But he invites you to come in. But how will you serve him? How will you honor him? How will you treat him with the proper respect? And how will you commune with him? This is what avodah is all about. We're going to learn through seeing that we are called to avodah, and we are given models, examples, illustrations, pictures in the Torah of what that avodah looks like, and what the people who do the avodah in his unseen realm look like as well. I guess I first should introduce you to the real issue here. Are you ready to go there? I don't know how to say this in a very gentle and loving way. What has been your reaction so far? If you've been listening, if you've been studying the Torah, if you've gotten into the beauty realm, the unseen realm discussions, if you've been reading about the dimensions and the colors and the material list and the blueprint for this Mishkan or this tabernacle that the Creator of the universe has told us we're supposed to build on earth, to bring heaven to earth. Have you been reading all this? What has been your reaction to it? Are you having a drawn reaction? Do you sense yourself being pulled into something wonderful that you want to know more about? Are you digging in? Or are you having an aversion reaction? Are you having are you feeling bored? Are you feeling confused? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling disinterested by virtue of the details and the sequence and what we're talking about? Would you rather just talk about religious creed and doctrines and beliefs that you're supposed to have? Or would you rather talk about something else? I mean, I understand, and the Holy One knew when he put this into his Torah, and he called us to read this every year in cycles, in sequence. He knew that there would be many people who would not be, quote, ready. Who would not be ready to embrace and go deep into this deep realm, this beauty realm of his. Would have too many scars and wounds, would have too many distractions, would have too many offenses and cynicism, too much sarcasm, too much darkness invasion in their life, too much raw shakat and hamas, evil, corruption, and violence or cruelty, oppression going on in their life or around them. And he is not he's not offended that you are not ready. He says, wait till next year. We'll come around again. The merry-go-round, the great carousel. We'll return again next year. Maybe next year will be your time for love. Now, I use this term like this, your time for love. If you know Ezekiel chapter 16, this beautiful part of the prophecy, Yechezkiel was this prophet at the time of the exile in Babylon and captivity in Babylon, maybe you want to call it. And he had this vision that is beginning with chapter 1 and chapter 16. And I'm not going to go through the vision with you, but he said there are certain phases that the Holy One sees us in, sees his people in phases, stages of readiness or non-readiness. He talks about how a baby is born and unloved and unswaddled, in an unswaddled nativity with the uncut umbilical cord, not cut off from the worldly things, the way of the old ways, the way of the flesh's ways, not cut off, unswaddled activity, uncut biblical nativity, uncut umbilical cord, a time of lying uncovered, unwashed, unsalted in the open field. This is the imagery that he draws. Some of us are in that stage. And he knows that, the Holy One knows that. Oh, it's okay. Let's keep going. Don't quit on me. Don't quit on the Holy One. Don't give up. Don't get all flesh avulsed or repulsed. Don't get pseudo-intellectually arrogant and think that somehow this is just not it for today, or it's not for me, or I don't want to hear it. This is too mundane. It's too boring. Don't let that determine. Don't make a decision now based on being unswaddled in your nativity, or having an uncut umbilical cord to the world and the systems and the Babylons around you, or being uncovered, unwashed, unsalted. If he has not put his salt upon you and rubbed his salt upon you, if you've not been touched by the salt of the heavens as well as the salt of the earth, understand you're able to comprehend and respond to the things he's showing you in this beauty realm. And then he calls it also, there's a season when we are struggling in our own blood. This is a phase where many people are. He understands you may be in the stage right now struggling in your own blood. I'm not going to go into detail of what that means. First, it has to do with the birth process and the blood that comes forth, but it also comes forth when you are struggling, when you're bleeding, when you're wounded, when you're hurting, when you're too hurt or too sick or too offended or too broken in your spirit to respond to beauty. He knows that. And he knows he's good at coming back around when you're more ready, and getting you ready for the next time this whole sequence comes around. And then there's a time that he describes in chapter 16 of Ezekiel of spiritual adolescence, I call it, when there's a maturation process happening, but it's still an adolescentness and an unreadiness yet. A hunger, an appetite, a willingness to work, but not yet willing to pay the fullness and enjoy the fullness of what the Creator has. So if you're in this unswaddled nativity, uncut umbilical cord, uncovered, unwashed, unsalted in the open field, struggling in your own blood or spiritual adolescent state, it's okay. You'll be there soon. May you not give up on the Holy One. May you not give up on the Torah as his medium. May you not give up on your time in study and meditation. May you not give up, and may you not blame Judaizers and Jews and different groups that people love to blame for this. May you understand this is just not where you are right now. But if you're in another state, if you are in the time for love, you know it. You've been touched by this description of the Holy One, these adventures in the beauty realm that he's been taking us on, by these detailed descriptions of beauty and majesty and color and frequency, and connecting with the heavenly realm and connecting with the energy of the heavenly realm to bring that down to the earth. That has got you inspired, awakened, ready for love. Your time for love is now. Not just love for the Holy One, although that's the key of it. Love of neighbor, love even of enemy, love of life. So with that being said, realizing that wherever you are in this continuum, wherever you may be as you've been reading and studying and thinking about it and listening to Rabbi's son blab on and on and on about this beauty realm, well, the Holy One knows, and he is not offended at wherever you may be. He is inspired. He knows there's a remnant. There is a large group who is ready for love. Now we're going to go on, whatever level you are. The preview of this parsha, I like to spend a little bit of time each week talking to you about the parsha in preview form. Asking the question, what is it that the Holy One is calling us to think about and focus on and draw wisdom and understanding from as we navigate the particular section of Torah that we're talking about this week. This week we Parsha Tetzaveh. What are we supposed to be thinking about? What are we not supposed to be thinking about? What is occupying our minds on this Sabbath that we need to wash clean? We need to have salt rubbed over it. What are we supposed to be focusing on? What part of our growth, our maturation, our planned development strategy, this agenda of the Creator years, are we supposed to be focusing on? And what things are we focusing on that are totally contraindicative for that take us the exact opposite direction, counterproductive? So what are we thinking about? What are we focusing on? What are we supposed to be thinking about and focusing on? And what is it in the Torah? What is it in these descriptions of the beauty realm and the conversations that the Holy One's having with Moshe and giving to us, having with us as a result of our reading through Moshe's writings? What are we supposed to draw wisdom and understanding from? What's supposed to change our lives about this particular section of the Torah and the Devarim and the words that are in it? I'm going to ask you three questions to set the stage as we do this preview of the Parsha. First question: what degree of honor is due to the King of Kings? Our Creator, our Sustainer, our Redeemer, the Sustainer of all life for that matter, our Redeemer, and our Bridegroom King. What degree of honor and service is due to Him? Now, this is going to change the worldview, change the perspective. I'm trying to turn the prism a little bit to get a little different light. So the first question to set the stage for this parsha is: what degree of honor do you believe, do you understand is due, is appropriate for the King of Kings, the Creator, the Sustainer, the Redeemer, and the Bridegroom King? Second question, if that wasn't enough. Second prism turning question: what kinds of dress, demeanor, and behavior and speech are appropriate if we are in the Creator's presence? If we are in His courts, if we are moving around His chambers, and if we are entering into and invited into His throne room, if we are in the beauty realm, how should we respond? What dress is appropriate? What demeanor, what behavior, what speech, what conversations, what language, what vocabulary is appropriate in His presence? You see, a courtroom behavior, a decorum, is a whole lot different than what people do in a bar, or what people do at a rock concert, or what people do at a football game. What is the appropriate level of and dress, demeanor, behavior, and speech, conversation, vocabulary, vocalization, expression in His presence? Well, these are another second of the twisting of the paradigm, or twisting of the prism. I have a third question to set the stage for this Tetzaveh download. In light of who the Creator, the Holy One, HaKodesh Baruch Hu is, and in light of all that He has done for us and for our family and for our bloodline and for the world and for the ecosystem of earth, what kinds and levels of service to Him are our reasonable service? What kinds of service, what levels of service, what degrees, what depths of service are reasonable in light of what He's done for us and how majestic and wonderful He is? Okay, I've given you the preview. Let's talk a little more specifics. I want to discuss with you the beauty realm effect. The Holy One put these many chapters, many discourses about the beauty realm, about the unseen realm beyond the veil, beyond the earthly things our earthly eyes can see, our earthly ears can hear, our earthly minds, unaided by Him, can fathom. He put these beauty realm chapters out there for a strategic purpose. He's going somewhere with this. He wants to take us somewhere with this. This is not something we should relegate contrary to the opinion of many theologians of our day. This is not a part of the Torah we should relegate to the past, to history, to ceremonial law, to some for old, abandoned, superseded, inferior covenant. This is something of his revelation stream. This is the downloads of heaven to try to give us, to inspire in us, to bring forth from us the beauty realm effect. You've heard it said of Messiah, Yeshua's disciples. People took note that they had been with Yeshua. Why? How do you know? How do you know someone you've been some? That's the beauty realm effect. When you are surrounded by beauty, you tend to rise to that beauty. You tend to absorb that beauty, and then you tend to exude that beauty. Little bits, little recognizable, little unmistakable bits, little evidences that you have been in the beauty realm with the beauty persona, the beautiful, majestic Creator himself, his representatives, and therefore you begin to be beauty as much as see beauty. So, here's the secret of the beauty realm effect. In beautiful places, surrounded by beauty, even ordinary people get inspired to do beautiful things. I'm going to repeat that for you. I want you to get this and to understand the reason why the Holy One puts so much emphasis on the beauty realm and the tabernacle and the reproduction of the heavenly realms of the chambers and courts and throne room of the King on the earth. And now we're going to talk about the service of those in the tabernacle and the heavenly realm and bring that to earth as well. Here's that secret. The beauty realm effect is in beautiful places, surrounded by beauty, or even ordinary people get inspired to do beautiful things. Are we ready for beauty to arise? Are we ready to trade our ashes for his beauty? That's what the beauty realm effect and the beauty realm chapters are all about. So if even in the natural realm, you go to stand at a waterfall, stand at the Grand Canyon, stand at the ocean side, stand on top of a mountain and see the vista around you. If you go to beautiful places and you're surrounded by beauty, even ordinary people get inspired to do beautiful things. Poetry comes out, songs erupt, artistry comes forth, mastery, wise sayings begin to come forth just because of the beauty of the surroundings you've been in. And you can tell you've been in those beautiful surroundings because you're speaking beauty, you're talking beauty, you're acting beauty, your face shines with beauty. This is what beautiful places and us being surrounded by beauty in those places causes even ordinary people to get inspired to do. Well, how much more is this true when at the center of all the beauty, emanating with power, with energy, with frequency, with Kedusha from this center throne of this beautiful place we're being taken now, is the awe-inspiring, energizing, empowering presence of the Creator of the universe himself. He who said, "Light be," and everything began to develop in accordance, in sequence according to that plan. Well, that's what the beauty realm effect is about. Let's do a quick general review to get us our context. As the Holy One promised Abraham several centuries ago, he has redeemed his seed from cruel bondage to the nations. Egypt in this case, but it could be all the nations. It was all the nations. It was all the darkness of humanity succumbing to Ra, Shakat, and Hamas, evil, corruption, and violence, cruelty, oppression. He has redeemed his covenant partners, Abraham's covenant partners' seed, Abraham's seed, that is, from cruel bondage to the nations. He's done so with a strong hand that evidences who he is, and an outstretched arm that tells the world of his majesty. And he has now brought that redeemed seed in a nation form with the harvest from the nations called the mixed multitude to himself at Mount Sinai, and he has spoken words of betrothal over this group of people in this generation, but for all generations. If, as, when, to the extent you will shema my voice, he said in betrothal. If, as, when, and to the extent you will Shamar, treasure my covenant and guard it and carefully. Then you will be to me, and I'm Segil Ali, a treasured people that I will hold out as my model to others, the model to the nations. You will be my mamlech hakoni. You will be my delegates, my emissaries. You will be my ambassadors to all the nations and ethnicities and cultures of this world, teaching the ways of the Creator and the holiness in a more excellent way. And you will be my holy nation that is filled with Kedusha and exudes Kedusha and brings heavenly energy to earth and makes it operative in real ways. That's what you'll be if you. And we said Na'aseh. We later enlarged our response to Na'aseh Benishma. In other words, yes, 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 we want that. We will do that. We will listen to you. Even when we don't understand, we will move in rhythm with what you're saying. We will get involved in your host. We are part of you. Well, we have now done that, and so now we have entered the season of the adventures in the beauty realm. I call it the season of the tent maker's dream download. The Holy One is a tent maker, and he wants us to be tent makers as well. And lovely indeed are his tents, and lovely indeed should be our tents, beloved. And so this Mishkan discourse or tabernacle download, this tent maker's dream vision is being downloaded to us. It's a powerful season we are in right now. A season, as you can look in the northern hemisphere, you see the signs of new life. Spring coming forth. You see the budding of the flower and the grain in the field. You see the trees beginning to bud out. You understand that we are in a new season of nation building. And so this mission briefing is going on. This download of the heavenly, this beauty realm effect is being given to us. And so we are being taught how to handle this. And that's what I call spiritual science. Now, the spiritual science started with the betrothal proposal that I talked about. They carried forth into the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 words that the Holy One used to help us reorient ourselves to what life is all about and what our purpose on earth is, to teach us who we really are, our identity, go out for who we really are. The 10 words, these describe who we're called to be. And they give us our priority, rearrange our priorities. They tell us what our self-talk and our thought processes, our meditation should be, and what our behavior should be. And they give us a spec and a blueprint as to what we're designing, what we're aiming at, what our target is, what the mark of the high prize would look like. That's the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 words called the 10 Commandments, unwisely, not very wisely by the theological world. This revelation, the spiritual science download, then proceeded through the Mishpatim discourse of chapters 21 through 23 of Exodus, and that it was when the Holy One was teaching us through examples, through models, to teach us to think as he thinks, to think long-term, cross-generational, think long-term effects, just think how these things in the natural realm affect the spiritual realm, and how the spiritual realm needs to have ability to heal the things of the natural realm. Not about vengeance, not about retribution, not about punishment, but about how we can bring wisdom, compassion, and understanding to the world in ways that do heal it, though it is done in divine, holy ways, not fleshly, pseudo-intellectual ways. And then he amazed us a couple weeks ago with the Heavenly Courts narrative. He showed us what it's like, that human beings can indeed dwell and spend time in and gaze upon. Yes, I know we're going to talk about something later, but right now, they open the possibilities of gazing upon the Holy One and His beauty and carrying on life on earth in that regard and being better for it are out there. And then last week, in Parsha Terumah, in the previous Parsha section of Torah we studied, the Holy One continued this spiritual science reorientation. He called us up and across the threshold into his unseen realm. And he began to carry us and give us a tour of his magnificent beauty realm, heavenly courts, heavenly chambers, heavenly throne room. And then he said, "This you are to build for me. You are to make it on earth out of gold, silver, bronze, red, blue, purple, linen, oil, stones, precious stones, shittim wood. You are to make it all, just as you see according to the pattern I'm showing you in the heavenly realm, and bring it to earth. This is what our mission on earth is. This is the foundational level of our mission, and then we will build out what that mission consists of later. So we are now being introduced to the tent maker's dream, and the story that should be shocking us should have us somewhat shivering and yet somewhat totally excited about this, is that he said he will actually indwell us. You can read it as being, I will dwell with them. But his whole purpose in this whole tabernacle download of the beauty room and adventures is to prepare us for him to dwell in us, to indwell us. That's outrageous, and it's wonderful. That is incredible. That is good. I hope you're excited about that. That this, how can the Holy One, the Creator of the universe, the eternal, immortal, invisible One, dwell in human bodies, in human villages, in human homes? How can he do that? Well, he says, I have a protocol, but you need to learn some spiritual science to make sure you can flow with this. So that's why we have the Mishkan Discourse. That's why we have the Tabernacle Download that we're in the middle of. Last week, the Holy One kicked off his spiritual science course by unveiling the secret of entering his beauty realm. There's a secret to entering. You don't just climb. You don't just ascend. You don't burst your way in. You don't just break in. This is not a break-in thing. There's a secret to enter the beauty realm. There is a protocol, a protocol. In other words, don't try to come empty-handed. Don't try to come just in your own arrogance. Try to come with humble homage, to pay homage to the King. We learn that the doors and the gates of the heavenlies and the beauty realm of the Holy One opens only to those who have a good eye and a willing heart. Those whose good, their whole body is filled with light. Divine light from the other side, from beyond the veil. And the key is a willing heart. The secret, the Teruma secret, this Teruma protocol, the secret of entering the presence is a giving, volunteering, surrendered heart, a willing heart. Someone who is willing to invest in the vision and believe that the issue is not return. The issue is what is my service is due. What is appropriate levels of service to the King. So after around the Teruma protocol, he gave us his quick first look around. He dazzled us. He gave us the shock treatment of beauty realm. He gave us the Ark of the Covenant vision. And he gave us the table of the shulkan, the table of showbread, where it's bread that's supposed to reflect his very face. That's in the heavenly realms. How can we make that happen on the earth? He gave us the menorah, the light source, the oil. He gave us the visions of this. He gave us the brazen altar. He said, I'll meet with you there. That's incredible. He's not just going to live among us. He's not going to indwell us. He's going to have regular, scheduled, designed, strategic meetings with us, briefings, encounters, communion, conversation with us, all around the status of this Mishkan, this tabernacle, this mikdash. This, we call it many things, but it is this bringing heaven to earth, keeping our being beauty realm people. He said, build this, what I'm showing you in the heavens for me on earth, according to the pattern that I showed Moshe, serve as a mikdash for me, a place where I can release my holiness, my energy to activate the real plan, the grand plan of redemption and restoration, and so that I may shakan, may dwell, may abide, may reside in you, in your midst. Well, Sinai is where we learn science. Sinai, science. Sinai is where we learn spiritual science. The first law we learned in Parsha Mishpatim, the first law of spiritual science, was that for every problematic situation that fallen men can create, the Holy One provides a pathway that leads to redemption and restoration. Law 1 of spiritual science, for every problematic situation that fallen men can create, the Holy One provides a pathway that leads to redemption and restoration. If you will receive it, this is what is at the basis of Romans 8:28 and so many more portions of Scripture. The Holy One always knows in advance what men are going to do. He always has a solution. He always has a pathway that will lead to redemption and restoration. I call it the Romans 8:28 path. That was the first law of spiritual science we learned. We learned in Parsha Mishpatim 2 weeks ago. Last week in Parsha Teruma we learned the second law of spiritual science. And that is a little more complicated. I'll go with it slowly. Every object the Holy One directs to be built or serviced in the earthly Mishkan, in the tabernacle, corresponds to two things. Every object in the tabernacle, every of the ark, the table, the places, the things in the tabernacle, he tells us to build on earth. They correspond to two things. One is an eternal reality that is related to the Messiah, his Mashiach, in the heavenly Mishkan. We're learning about Mashiach through the tabernacle, through the protocols, through the descriptions of the various different whole and the component parts of the tabernacle. It is all about of the Mashiach, Messiah. Don't give up. Don't quit. Wait till you find it. Wait till you see it. When you see it, you can't unsee it, oh beloved. Second part, every object the Holy One directs to be built and serviced in the earthly tabernacle corresponds also to a relation-building truth, a discipline that each of us needs to find a way to represent and incorporate in our world, in our days, in our devotional lives, in real time, in real life situations in the course of our earthly walk with the bridegroom king. There is something that has to do with the Ark of the Covenant and its structure that we need to incorporate into our relational behaviors, in our conversations. There's something in the table of showbread, table of bread, that reflects the face of the Holy One that we need to incorporate into our daily walk, into our daily conversations and our interactions with other people and our business transactions. There's something about this menorah, this seven-branched light lampstand that lights the way to show the way into the holy place, into the beauty realm of the Holy One. That's all it lights up. It's supposed to illumine the beauty realm to other people. That's supposed to be involved in how we treat other people, how we treat our families, how we train up our children, how we transact business in the marketplace. You see, every object the Holy One directs to be built or serviced in the holy mission, in heaven, in the tabernacle, in the physical realm, it corresponds to a relationship-building truth, as well as shows us an image of Messiah. This week, we'll have a third lesson of spiritual science, a third law or principle of spiritual science will be revealed. So we'll get to that in a little bit. The beautiful people doing beautiful things vision is what we're going to get. Once we build the Mishkan, we should have a question. Once we build the Mishkan or Mikdash, as he told us to do, according to the pattern he's shown us on the mountain, once we have these blueprints, not just on papyrus or paper, not just in our minds, not just in the eye, the twinkling eye of the craftsman, when they're actually in place physically on the earth, who will serve there? Who will go in there? And what will they do when they get in there? And what will be the essence and the substance of the service of the Holy One that is carried on in there? These are the questions we've asked. Who will do what, when, where, why, and how? Who will do what, when, where, why, and how when this thing is built? Well, we're going to get a picture of that this week. We're going to learn about avodah, service. We're going to learn about kohanim. English word would be priesting, becoming a priest, acting as priest. We're going to learn about kadashing, about incorporating kedusha, the energy of heaven, into the things of the earth. It sets you apart, yes, but the setting apart is because of the energy that you get from heaven. You don't set it apart just because I set that apart. No, it's energy sets it apart, and the force field and the power of the thing is set apart by virtue of being kadash. So we're going to learn about avodah. We're going to learn about kohanim. We're going to learn about kadashing, all in Parshat Terumah. The subject that I want to talk about to you, and we'll introduce this whole parsha to you and let you have your own sessions and times of discussion, will be the empowerment and the contagion of kedusha. Avodah yields kedusha. Kohanim yields avodah flowing with kedusha. Priesting really needs a service that reveals and releases kedusha energy upon the earth. So what is the empowerment and the contagion of this energy force that we're getting from heaven? What causes the four living creatures to do what they do in the heavenly realm? What causes the 24 elders to do what they do in the heavenly realm? What causes the seraphim and the cherubim to do what they do? What causes the angels, Michael and Gabriel, to do what they, and the host, to do what they do? The energy that drives and motivates, the power, the magnetism of the holy realm, the beauty realm. What does this have? If it comes to earth, what does it do to us? How will it impact us? How will it change our conversations? How will it change our facial expressions, our demeanor? How will it change the way we treat each other? How will it change the way we react to offenses and perversions? How will it change us to make us like him, to make us where we have obviously been in the beautiful realm, because we're seeing beautiful things, speaking beautiful things, releasing beautiful things. Well, this empowerment and contagion of Kedusha. What are the types and levels of selfless service that constitute and show the proof, the fruit of Kedusha? Paul, Shaul, talked about the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22, and Paul, what is the fruit of Kedusha? What is the fruit of us being in the presence of the Holy One? That's the same thing, by the way. There is no difference. So if you understand the fruit of the Spirit, you understand the Kedusha fruit. Well, reminder, as we study the things of the beauty realm, of the download of the tabernacle, dimensions and colors and materials and structure, every picture tells a story. Say it to yourself if you wish, over and over again. Every picture you see in the narrative of Parshas Terumah, Tetzaveh, and following, every picture tells a story. And the spiritual law of offsetting spiritual and physical parallels that we talked about last week, the second spiritual law, applies. Now, that being said, what is the whole thing about? What is the purpose of this Mishkan? Is it to, and we understand it's like a beachhead. It creates an earthly beachhead. If we build this thing, it creates a beachhead through which the kingdom of heaven can come to earth. And what happens when the kingdom of heaven comes to earth? We present this beautiful testimony to the world. This beautiful, I call it a passion play. I just call this Parsha introducing our bridegroom king's most excellent passion play. The purpose of bringing the Mishkan to the earth is not just so we can have a great experience and be caught up in the holy realm and catch a little Kedusha. The purpose is to tell the world. The purpose of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, the purpose of us incorporating this Kedusha into our lives is so that we can tell the story to the people of the world. We can demonstrate it, model it, make it a passion play. Make it have a stage. Give it a stage. Give it scenery. Give it props. Give it appropriate levels of scenery and props. Give it actors that know their lines and care about the message. Give it a wardrobe that draws attention to the right things that is appropriate for the season and the sequence and the circumstances. Give it a script that will tell the story in its most beautiful ways. That's what this most excellent passion play, the tabernacle is supposed to be the stage of our great passion play to the world, taking it to the streets, as it were. Now, we now know a good bit about the amazing sights and the sounds and the fragrances and the beauty and the majesty we find in the Holy One's secret place in his beauty realm. But what should we bring with us? We've learned a little bit about that. Who will greet us there? That's the next question. Who will greet us there? Who are we going to be introduced to the events, the workstations, the worship stations, the settings, the sets of this stage by? That's going to be, in our situation, Aaron and his sons. We'll talk a lot about Aaron and his sons in Parsha Terumah. Let's go back to this idea of this being a stage for a passion play. The tabernacle is a stage for the great passion play, telling the story of redemption and restoration to the world, of the grand plan that the Holy One has, setting it out. A dramatic presentation of the highest levels of self-sacrificing love that can be experienced in this world, because they come from another world. They come from the world of the beauty realm. Beyond the veil realm, the unseen realm. They bring, when that comes to earth, we see a dramatic evidence, a presentation of the highest levels of self-sacrificing love that can be experienced in this world. It should blow your mind. It should blow your doors off, blow your socks off, some of the phrases we might use. What is a passion play? Well, passion is from the Latin word patio. It means suffering that is embraced, a pain that is willingly endured, a price that is willingly paid for the sake of intense love. What would I do for love? How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. What beautiful things come forth whenever we see love exemplified. The tabernacle is about the love of the Holy One for his creation. It's about him wanting to come and dwell with us, be with us, but understanding we need protocols to be able to enter into his holiness level when we are so corrupted and so polluted and so frail and so self-deceived and so culturally deceived and ethnically deceived in this world. Love, the greatest love, is for him to come to us and abide with us and call us into his presence to dwell with us and to do what is necessary, whatever is necessary, to pay any price that is necessary to allow us to come into his presence and commune with him and begin to walk in accordance with the holy things, the beauty realm things, the courts, the chambers, the throne room of the king things. So what is the purpose of a passion play? What is the purpose of such a dramatic presentation of self-sacrificing love? It is three purposes, basically. One is catharsis. This is how, by seeing love and seeing people willing to experience and experiencing pain and loss and cost and seeing the Holy Ones giving up what he gives up for us to be, this awakens in us. It cleanses us. You talked about how some people, when they come to this portion every year, they come unsalted. They come unwashed. They come struggling in their own blood. Well, this catharsis, there's a healing power to the Passion Play. Secondly, there's an inspiration power to the Passion Play. The Passion Play's purpose is to awaken. And we get so discouraged by the things that happen in the world. We get so caught up in the drama of day to day, the story of the week, the clown show, so to speak, in politics and economics and science and medicine, the clown show of the week, and it's so depressing, and it's so discouraging. He says, the world needs inspiration. That's what this Passion Play is designed to provide. This Passion Play of the Holy One that is played out on the stages of the Mishkan, of the Tabernacle, that we are involved in. This is to be an inspiration to the world. Don't try to teach anybody or lecture anybody or judge anybody you haven't tried to inspire, that you haven't given full opportunity to be inspired by this Passion Play, the glory of the self-sacrificing love of the Creator of the universe. Now, the third thing, there's three purposes: catharsis, or healing, inspiration, and then the third thing is humble appreciation. Mankind functions best when he understands his limitations. When he doesn't think he's smarter than the average bear. When he doesn't think he's smarter than the Creator himself. When he comes in humble appreciation for all the Holy One has done. Gratitude, thanksgiving, shalom. This is where we're going. The Passion Play. It's what the Passion Play releases in the earth. So, places everyone. Lights. Menorah. Camera. Action. Passion Play is on. With that, let's sing the call to worship. Sing it with me if you know it. I will sing it in Hebrew, and let it come forth, and may it wash you. May it salt you. May it call you forth. May it inspire you. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. For those who may not know, that is the call to worship, or the blessing before reading from the Torah, that is sung historically, traditionally in the Jewish world, the Hebrew world of all varieties. The idea is to give thanks to him for this precious gift that we call the Torah. And then we say, open our eyes, O Holy One, from Psalm 119, 119:18, excuse me. Open our eyes, O Holy One, that we may see wondrous things in your Torah. For we are just strangers in this earth. So do not hide your mitzvot, your instructions from us. Okay, context. All Torah should be read in context, not little verses picked out, little phrases picked out here and there. The final words of Parsha Teruma, part one of the Mishkan discourse, of the tabernacle download, the Adventures in the Beauty Realm narrative, was the introduction of Avodah. Exodus 27, after about 1819, all the utensils and vessels of the tabernacle, the Holy One told Moshe, for all of its service and all of its pegs and all of its cord, this is Creator speak, all the utensils and all the vessels of the tabernacle, for all of its avodah, for all of the things that are supposed to be done there, this passion play script acted out there, all this avodah, all of the little things that we're going to use are to be made of nekoshet, of brass. Okay, so that seems strange, but he's introduced us to something. Avodah. We may not have a bunch of brass laying around. We may not have the tin and the bronze, the tin and the copper to make the alloy out of, or the nickel and the copper to make the alloy of. We don't have all that. We don't have any brass. But what we do have is the ability to understand this concept. We're being called to avodah. We are being called to service. Are you ready for service? Are you ready not just to receive from the Holy One, although He is so good at giving? Are you ready to give avodah? The opening lines of the download, of the Tetzaveh download, are these in Hebrew. V'atah tetzaveh et bnei Israel. And you are to tzav bnei Israel. You are to give these charges that incorporate them into the great grand plan activities of the Holy One. It says, Ve'yaku eleka shemen zayit zach, and they are to bring to you pure oil of pressed olives. It seems so simple. Pure oil of pressed olives. Shemen zayit zach. Lam'or leha'alot ner tamid, for the light, to keep the lamp burning, ascending continually. To keep this thing going. B'kol moed, in the tent of continual testimony and witness, in this stage for the great passion play, mikutz leperaket al ha'edut, outside the veil where this testimony comes forth. Well, there is so much more. I'm just getting started. I hope you are in your studies in Parsha Tetzaveh, in your adventures in the beauty realm, in your wondering, who are these people and wandering around my King's tabernacle? And what are they doing? And where are they doing it? And when are they doing it? And why are they doing it? And how are they doing it? And what has this got to do with me and my devotional life, and my relationship with my family members, and my relationship with the Creator Himself, and my relationship in the marketplace, my relationships in the workplace, and my relationships in the generations and the ethnicities that I'm engaged with? Well, beloved, it's time for me to go. We've had a little bit of time around the Shabbat table with the Rabbi's son. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been an inspiration to you. I hope it's been something that causes you to want to dig deep. You can go back if you wish and look at last week's studies, or my video around the Rabbi's son on Parsha Teruma. I think that would be a good example. Or you can go deeper into your own studies in Parsha Tetzaveh and read from Exodus 37:20 through 30:10. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom.